Welcome to class 722 and Changing Criterion Design. So this, as you can see, is a graph with a changing criterion. And we have only introduced this in class briefly, but let me kind of talk you through a couple of different studies. So as you can see, this on the axis has mean revolutions per minute. This was a study where they had 3 obese boys and 3 non-obese boys. The top 3 graphs are non-obese and the bottom 3 are for obese boys, to ride a bicycle as a way to reduce weight and increase their activity. So what they did was they got on the bikes. The bike had a bell and light that would ring and illuminate to let them know if they've met the criterion. So in a stepwise fashion, they kept increasing the criterion by 15% to get them to do more revolutions per minute on the bike. And as you can see, each of the boys, including the obese boys, were able to meet the criterion and earn their reinforcement. And in fact, in addition to 4 stepwise increases, they also were able to do a return to baseline, and you can see a reversal there. And that you can insert a reversal into a change in criterion design, but the point of them is to have stepwise changes that are determined by the baseline rate, and you can use this for behaviors that do not reverse or cannot be reversed. And you want to have 4 replications. So here is another example, and I know a lot of people in their practice have kids that cannot wait. So they used baseline, you can see it's almost 0 seconds of waiting. The first was just getting up to the criterion, it's about 20 seconds of waiting. They used a red card, that they were given the red card and were told verbally wait and handed that red card. The next phase, again, the criterion, you can see slowly increasing. We were increasing by about 10 seconds. And they had the red card. They told wait, and then they introduced the time timer, which a lot of you are familiar with. And then again, increasing the criterion in the next phase with the time timer. And then they were able to remove the red card at that point. And you can see it took about 82 sessions to get to 2 minutes. And by the end of the study, they were able to get to a total of 10 minutes. So very slow process of stepwise increases. This is another study showing changing criterion, but hopefully you can look at this and see that there, in addition to the changing criterion, which was in place for Rosalind and Robert, that may not have been the original intention of the researchers. As you can see, there's a multiple baseline across 3 people, Herman, Rosalind, and Robert. These were all people, young adults with developmental disabilities, and they wanted to teach them a leisure skill that they could do at a friend's apartment, go into a neighborhood, go to a community center, or even a local bar, because they were all of drinking age. And they were people with cerebral palsy who were taught how to throw darts. Real darts, not rubberized, not Velcro, but real darts. And despite their physical limitations, they would get them to what's considered the standard distance for the line is for a dart throwing, which is 8 feet, I guess 8 feet, 5 inches, something like that. So they got them to throw the darts. They created a 7-step task analysis. And as you can see, the changing criterion was to each time was to do a step in the task analysis. As opposed to the other changing criterions, this one is based on a TA. And so I thought this was a nice original study to show you, so you can see a potential way of setting up a changing criterion design and using it to teach a task, especially if you have somebody working in a home program or at school. And you can see from the data they generalized to an apartment and into the community and a bar. This is the last changing criterion I wanted to show you, and this we looked at previously. This is the caffeine drinking. And we decreased here using stepwise decrease because you don't want to do it all at once and cut off caffeine. Same with cigarette smoking. And so we can see all the stepwise downward trend to do the reduction in amount of caffeine consumed. This was coffee. So those were just some examples. Here's showing you just a table, and this is all in Blackboard for you. Here's another way of presenting the data other than a graph, just to show you in a table format. Again, as you saw in those previous pictures, that it is a series of treatment phases that are stepwise changes. You determine your criteria based on what the baseline rate is. You can say, I want a 20% increase, 10% decrease, whatever is relevant for that client. And then the important thing is each phase serves as the baseline for the previous phase. So in the caffeine, phase 1 serves as the baseline for phase 2. So when you're doing your calculations, you would compare 1 to 2. 2 now, phase 2 is baseline for phase 3. So therefore you continue to do your calculations that way. So things to remember about changing criterion is that you want to have your replications. You can have varying lengths of phases. You can, if you have difficulty, revert to a previous level to show reversal, or you could go back to a previous level if you were having difficulty at this current level. But also you could do a reversal. Instead of taking away completely, you just revert back to the previous level to show a reversal. And the things that you could use changing criterion on. So thinking about this for your thesis or for treatment of peer interactions, drinking, overeating, cigarettes, homework completion, and then differential reinforcement of low rates, high rates, and incompatible behaviors as well. So that's it for changing criterion design, and you're going to have another activity to do as a discussion for this.